Okay, we have to be quiet now because we're going to start. And I'm extremely excited because I remember when I joined Harvard, and some folks have heard the story before. I do HR, and I'm looking at my boss, Tiffany Judah, who's going to speak today. But in our world, sometimes we don't have the opportunity to have fun. And I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to give back, and I wanted to be excited about bringing up the next generation in terms of preparing folks for a life beyond what they're accustomed to or what they would want for themselves. And so I started the partnership with Year Up. Okay? So I say this to say that I was not original because the first entrance that Europe had to Harvard was with Hewitt, and that was in 2003. So all the Hewitt people, show your hands. There you go. All right. So, and we're still hanging in there and we're still doing an amazing job. But in FAS, we started in 2011. So fast forward today, and I'm looking at Alyssa because I want her to confirm that we do have about 28 Year Up interns across the university. 8 are in FAS, and I'm excited that we're going to hear from all the Year Up interns later on. We have some amazing speakers who will be sharing with us. I'm looking at Gerald, and I know people may say Gerald is not here in the flesh, but he's here really, really in the spirit. And my introduction to Year Up was all because of Gerald, and so I'm grateful that you're joining us remotely. A couple of things I want to say, and I've been asking folks kind of like, where are you from? Our culture is really intertwined, and I asked Daniel a couple of days ago to play some music. I decided that I would just do like background music because I didn't want the lyrics to come out, and I didn't want my young Year Up friends to think, she's a little off the wall. So I decided that I would just do some background Bob Marley for folks who don't know. I'm Caribbean, I'm Jamaican. My ethnicity is really a mixture of a lot of things. But I identify as a Jamaican, even though I have not lived in Jamaica for the last 44 years, but I'm still here. So when I look at that, and I kept asking folks, where are you from? Where's your family from? Where were you born? And we have places like Senegal, Cape Verde, China, Brazil, Tunisia, Morocco, Dominican Republic, Suriname, Vietnam, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and the list goes on. So I say this, Year Up was, the idea was that it would be a pipeline and opportunity. And here I am, I'm going to put a guilt thing on a couple of folks who may be in the audience. How amazing would it be if our work population came from the places that I just named? Wouldn't that be amazing? We talk about food, and I've said to a couple of my Year Up folks, we're gonna have a cook-off, or we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna get together with the interns, and we're gonna just enjoy and just learn from each other. Because the idea is that at every step of our lives, we should be learning. So I don't wanna take up all the time because I could talk forever, but we're gonna start. And I'm gonna ask Scott and Tiffany to go up to the little, what is it, table, podium, whatever it's called. And I'm gonna ask Ellen to join, right? I feel good, I'm directing traffic here. I'm just moving people around. And we're gonna have a conversation with them about Year Up. And one of the things I wanna know, Scott, this is your second year or second breakfast. And also Tiffany, this is your second breakfast. Ellen, this is your first breakfast, but I'm excited that I've had the opportunity to meet you in the flesh. I keep trolling your page to see that you graduated from Harvard, and I'm not gonna say when you graduated, but you graduated from Harvard and you went to the B school. And would you have thought that you'd be back here working with us, doing an amazing event to provide opportunities for young folks? Gerald, if you feel compelled, you can ask a question too. I always rely on you to kind of like stimulate conversation. So, Scott, talk to me about what your thoughts are about Europe. And folks, don't, if you want to join in, Tiffany, jump right in.
We could do this as like a choir.
You can, and I will also direct the music.
Harmonize.
You don't want me to sing?
Harmonize.
Nobody
You don't want that?
There's a reason we're in the jobs we're in, right?
Yeah.
So my thoughts on Europe are really about my thoughts on the broader project of making Harvard accessible and making Harvard part of the community and bringing Harvard's, I think, original mission. If you go back to the 1600s, then the Puritans landed here, and one of the first things they did was set up a college in Cambridge, and the goal was to educate folks. We weren't going to have a proper society without education here. Of course, back then it was very narrowly defined, like educating Puritan ministers, right, which meant men, white men, right, but over the course of the 400 years following, every time Harvard has opened up a little bit more to different communities, to different people, Harvard has gotten better, right? If you even just watch the trajectory of scholarship here and the trajectory even of even of the endowment, right? Just like every measure, it ticks up at these moments and grows and grows and gets better every time we're more embracing and open to more people. And of course, that's totally logical, right? If this work of Harvard is scholarship and veritas, truth, asking just a few people to work with you on discovering truth is not the best way. Right, the more you open up, and the more you get folks to bring themselves to the work, the more truth you're going to find, and that's just so easy to say as sort of a global statement. And Tane, I appreciate your reading out the list of the countries that folks are from, but it's also true with at the level of the work that we do as staff people, right? So we're here. I'm not going to discover a cure for anything. I'm not going to write the next great treatise on philosophy. But I take a lot of joy and pride in being part of it, bringing my best self to this work. And I'm not from very far away. My family has been in New England. My mother grew up in Roxbury. I grew up because of my father's job in upstate New York. But if you sort of look at Jordan family history, we're within 20 miles of here. Maybe, in New Hampshire and Maine too, but just call it 50 miles of here. We haven't gone very far. So I'm not from no exotic place, but
you're exotic, Scott. You're from the Berry. Your family's from the Berry.
In the plainest of ways, but I want to reach out, reach into Boston and Massachusetts, and to Harvard was Massachusetts' first public university, right? It's in the Constitution from 300 years ago. If our workforce can reflect the great diversity even within the 617, we need that too, right? There's so much opportunity here to be part of this thing, to be on the staff, to attend DCE extension school, to come to events, to be part of this thing. So I'm going on and on, but Year Up is part of that work of being part of this thing.
And I'm actually happy to hear you say that, because it's interesting. I remember the first year I started doing Year Up, and I would talk to the interns, and some of the things that they would tell me, oh my God, I didn't know that this is where Harvard was. I had no idea that this was Harvard, or this was, why is it here? And we would explain, and we would give the history that you just talked about. But folks were intimidated about the grandeur, the magnificence of Harvard. And to have them come in, I would say to them, guess what? Folks, we are important. They need us as much as they need you. And I would explain that Harvard's mission is teaching, education, and we keep that going. So I am going to remind you, you've heard the amazing history that Scott just gave us. Interns who are here. Don't ever think that you do not belong and that you do not contribute, because you're an amazing group of people and we rely on you. Okay? All right. So Tiffany, talk to me about your thing now, because I'm excited. This is your second year. We've had many conversations.
So thank you. And I will say it's a little over 2 years since I've started at Harvard with the FAS, and it feels new and exciting every time I step on the campus, every time I engage with faculty, staff, students. It is a wonderful, it's fun. The way that Etane opened up and said, you don't always have the opportunities to have fun at work. I am pretty excited to say genuinely that I have a great time at work. Some caveats to that in the work, the work that I do in HR, but in general, it's pretty fun. Some days are better than others. That's correct. But I want to piggyback on the theme of community and inclusion. And what really brought me to Harvard, besides the name, the brand, what it stands for, is that there is such a rich history and commitment to the mission to educate all citizens. And really that range true in terms of the work that we do in human resources, that we are committed to our equity, diversity, inclusion, belonging, that Harvard is for everyone. Now, it's been a little tricky in the news of late in terms of that message. But, our work in HR and Tane and I and others on the call, my colleagues, we pride ourselves in really thinking about how do we make this or continue to make this a community. And that's what this is. It's Harvard University, but it's a community. It's a community of individuals, diverse thought, with everything that you could possibly think of, and coming to this amazing institution to contribute in any way. So I agree, I'm not going to probably find a cure for anything, but being able to engage, build relationships with folks, partnerships, helping folks understand where they are and their special skill set and how do they get to if they had a magic wand, their job of choice, their work of choice. That is the magic, that's the secret sauce of what we do. And that is all because of the diversity, the uniqueness that folks bring to the table. I am from Cabo Verde, and my husband's from Haiti. And the interesting thing that when you, where we are in the south coast of Massachusetts, which a lot of people tend to not even know there is a south coast of Massachusetts. There's things below Cambridge, to let everyone know. We have towns and cities. But the idea that someone who looks like me can be in a position that I'm in and have the level of influence, having that sphere of influence, to bridge, to build relationships, to cultivate learning, education, excellence is absolutely amazing. And that's what we have 2 children. That's what we instill, is make sure, you're bringing out the Jadot name. Don't bring the shame to the Jadot name is what we tell our children every day. And, in a lot of ways, it's a representation. So, when you put on that Harvard, vest, or you have the Harvard swag, you don't want to bring shame to the Harvard name, right? And how we can build that with the relationships and the partnerships that we have with Europe, they're just so special because it can only increase the ability to build community, to build excellence, and it's a place, inclusivity. There's something for everyone.
Tiffany, I thank you for that. One thing you just mentioned about relationships, I'm going to say this. I want you to just think, Harvard is a place where relationships are important, right? You have to always build a relationship, nurture the relationship. I look at Daniel Francois. Daniel was a year up intern in 2016. The other day, I was showing Daniel like a photograph of his graduation. He said to me, "Etane, my God, that suit was cheap." And I'm like, and I said to Daniel, "But Daniel, I didn't buy that. You did, right?" And I said, "But you look good." But the thing is, right, we've worked together since then. Ever so often, I'll run into him because I'm over in FAS and he's over into DCE. But the relationship that we have is important. This morning, he said to me, this is what you need to do. And because I trust him, because we've developed, built, nourished a relationship, I'm like, okay, never question him about what I need to do, where I need to go, all of that. And that's what you have to remember when you come into Harvard. It's important. Don't ever think that you can't get stuff done. You can get stuff done. And a lot of folks in here, a lot of the interns will probably transition to other positions when their internship ends at the end of June or early July. But if when that time comes, remember, keep those relationships in the front part of your brain. We're not going to ask you to develop the next quantum theory, but we're just going to say to you, remember what we told you about how important it is for relationships, okay? I'm looking at Ellen. Ellen, I'm putting you on the spot now, and I know I'm switching like real fast. You came to Harvard at the B school, and I'm not going to say when you graduated. I'm just not going to say that. But you graduated from the B school, and you may have worked with Gerald, but I am excited to hear from you in terms of your transition from the financial world CFO in Europe to being the face of Europe. And also now that you're also working with places like Harvard, because Europe has over 200 partnerships across USA. And I want to hear, what are your thoughts as you engage with your partners across the United States?
Great. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be back. I had to take a quick meeting and I was bragging. I said, I'm in Harvard classroom for this meeting. And as I was reflecting on the fact that Harvard is a founding partner, I was wondering, is it as meaningful for this institution as it is for me to know that somebody had to decide to partner with Gerald almost 25 years ago. Someone had to decide to participate in that dream when there were 20 students. And today we serve 4,500 students across the country. We're a national nonprofit with 725 employees and a $200 million operating budget. And we have the audacity to believe that the opportunity divide in this country can be closed. We're not saying, Bridget, we're saying this can be closed. And our program has been studied by the social scientists who now can say unequivocally that we get proven outcomes. It's proven. So the divide can be closed, and it is beyond inspiring to work on this. Now, I do want to say, speaking of locations below Cambridge, I grew up 24 miles south of here. I am African-American and Irish. I have 5 siblings. And we grew up at a time when this was the early days when the court said schools had to be desegregated. And so there was a lot of violence that we observed. The racism was brazen. Our otherness was spoken about. It was a thing that we navigated on a regular basis. So to be othered on the basis of race is a fundamental quality of my existence. And when I grew up, I knew that I would go to college. That was the plan. I remember saying to my parents, well, I'll never go to one of those Ivy League schools because those schools are for rich kids. And I am not a rich kid. So didn't know how we could possibly afford it. But I played basketball and I went to, I like to say, invitational basketball camp because I'm bragging a little bit about that.
As you should.
And
Tiffany, talk to her about that.
Long time ago, Tim.
the coach of Brown came actually and said what it would take to get into a school like Harvard or Brown. And I realized I could do that. I had already taken the PSATs and I thought, wow, that might be possible. And then I started researching and I said, geez, these schools are very expensive. Maybe these rich schools would have more money to give. And it turned out to be the right calculation. So I got financial aid, and I've done all manner of jobs on a college campus, not here, but in this case at Brown. And I definitely didn't think I belonged. I was very intimidated when I went to college. So many of the students had come from private school. I thought nothing of the fact that I did make the basketball team, so I would go to practice, I would study so hard, and I had to work. And a lot of students didn't have that. And for me, I didn't even know that that was hard. That's what we had to do in my family, so that's what we did. And then to come to the business school, that was tough. Most of your grade is class participation. So as the only African-American woman in my 90-person section, and as an introvert, it was really tough to make it through, because you had to command the room. And it wasn't like your place, it was white male dominated. So anyway, I love the fact that I can come here now and get some swag and feel a little swaggy because it feels like home, and I did in fact graduate. So here you go. I didn't really answer your question.
No, listen. But you said a lot, because it's interesting that you say you're an introvert. I mean, I met with the interns about a week ago, and I was like, yeah, and I was all talking to them, and they probably think that I'm an extrovert. But I'm an introvert, strange as it is. I'm trying to identify with my people. But it took a lot of effort, because I wanted folks, I had to flex to get into their zone so that I could be with them. And a lot of times as minorities, we have to present in a different way. And this is not a class about belonging, but we have to present in a way so we feel as if we belong. So I want to not lose sight of that, because it's important for us to just remember that. And when we get home, we are like who we are, we do what we do, and then we gear up for the next day, okay? So thank you, Ellen, for sharing that. And I want folks to also remember this. It's an exciting thing to come and eat the food, but it's also a lesson that you're learning each day, okay? All right. And Gerald, I miss you, Gerald, because you would walk through the yard and I would see you so often. I don't see you anymore. So I missed you. But I remember when we met, you talked to me about the kid who was sort of like instrumental in your decision to really develop and brand Year Up because of the experience you had with a young man. You were like his big brother. So can we just talk about that and talk about looking back to your young self? Now you're not an old person, but your more matured self, and what it means for you to see Year Up transition and to see Ellen at the helm.
First of all, Attain, it's always great to see you, and I'm so glad you didn't call me old. Thank you very much.
No, you're more
I love
matured
that.
self.
Mature is good. And the good news is we're moving back to Cambridge
Yeah.
at the end of this year, and I'm actually teaching at the business school. So that's been a fun journey to be back in Harvard and actually now being on the faculty at Harvard. But the really inspiration for Year Up came through that relationship I had with my little brother, David Heredia, who I met back in 1987. In fact, I was just texting with David yesterday, 40 something years later. But what David showed me up close was how many young people in this country have all the talent, all the motivation, all the hustle, but they don't have the opportunity. And it just struck me, how can this country waste so much human capital, right? We don't have people to waste. We need to be a strong country, a strong community. And so I'll say one thing, and I want to talk a little bit about Ellen as well, but when Tiffany and Scott said, you're not going to find a cure for something, I actually would ask you to maybe think a little differently about it. Because Harvard, as one of the founding partners of this organization that has now served 45,000 young people with companies all over the country emulating this, treating our young adults as talent, as a pipeline of talent, you are, Tiffany, you are, Scott, finding a cure, as is Harvard, for inequality. You are finding a cure for the wealth gap in this country, right? I look at the 500 plus students that have come through Europe at Harvard, and each one of them has families, brothers, sisters, moms and dads they now take care of because of the income that they earn through Harvard. And if you look in the American Medical Association Journal and you look up the word poverty, it is classed as a disease, believe it or not. And so when you think about cures, the cure that Harvard has brought, because Harvard is an anchor institution in our community, it is absolutely an anchor institution, and we cannot have a healthy economy without a healthy community. And what Harvard has done with their partnership with Europe is to show what it means to truly be that anchor institution that has created access for hundreds and hundreds of young people and inspired a much broader group of individuals. In fact, Stanford every year asks me, are we as big as Harvard? Do we have as many interns as Harvard? And so Steve Gallagher, who used to be at the business school, is saying, I don't want Harvard to get ahead of us. So on both coasts, you are finding a cure to something that matters, which is actually maintaining the American dream, that people can gain access to opportunity. And so when I look today and I listen to Ellen, and I know in my heart of hearts, Europe is being led by an individual who has everything needed to take Europe to this next chapter, every single thing needed. And so one of my greatest honors is to make sure that I step into or step aside and to make sure that those who are able to lead this organization forward do so. And so to have Ellen in the role she's in, to me, I could not be more proud, more confident of her leadership, and know that she is the right person to take this organization forward. And I'm blessed to continue to serve the organization in whatever capacity they would like me to. But I also recognize is the best chapters of the Year Up story have yet to be written. And together with Harvard, with leaders like Tiffany, Scott, the folks at Harvard, we can write a chapter of this history that we are proud of, that creates a more pluralistic society and creates opportunity for those who need and deserve it. Right? That's what we've done together over 20 plus years. And I'm so proud to be a Harvard graduate, now teach at the institution, because what we're doing together matters deeply for our country. So I thank you all. I'm so grateful you allowed me to participate today, and just really appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
And thank you, Gerald, for your vision. Without the vision, we wouldn't be here. So thank you for that. Thank you for your commitment and your dedication. And always, I keep thinking when we first met, prodding, encouraging folks who seem not to be confident, but even within Harvard saying, step out on faith. You can really host a Year Up intern. And so I really appreciate it because this means a lot to me, just to see young people having the opportunity that they have to do what they'd like to do in their life. We all did it, and it's a good thing that they too can do it. I'm going to pivot back to Scott and to Tiffany and say thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Scott, because Gerald, you mentioned something in terms of support. We could not continue this without the financial support from Tiffany and from Scott. And every year when we do our budget, we say, hey, we want X amount of dollars because we want to host Year Up interns again. And I will say this to you, I'm never nervous that they will not approve it. We are never, ever nervous that this will not happen. In fact, I can always say, FAS folks, come on, tell me, do you want to host a Year Up intern? Because I'm confident that it will happen, and it does happen. And so I'm really grateful. Okay. So I'm going to do something very, that was not planned and that Daniel didn't direct me to do, or Megan. We have our folks who are in the diversity committee, and I think some of them are on Zoom. We have Andrea Kelton-Harris, we have Chris Keller, and so I want to ask you both, and also Megan is in the diversity committee. Do you have any questions for the panel? And the panel, as you can see, Scott, Gerald, Tiffany, Ellen. So folks, do you have any questions for the panel? You've heard them talk.
I have a question, but I do have a comment. I was so pleased to hear Gerald say that, we can be inventing and creating things such as Harvard does in the science world and in the other disciplines that are part of the legacy and history of this university. Because we are creating the next generation of successful, viable individuals who may grow up to create something in the science world, not to grow up, I know you all are already grown up, sorry, I'm old, but who may be in the future the ones to create something in that science world or the other disciplines that are here at Harvard. So it's, I remember Atane's excitement when she started working with this program when she first came. And I have to say that excitement has not waned. And I think it's in large measure due to the fact of not what's happening today, but the potential for the future, and where we can all go with this and how we can all be a part of this. And so I just want to thank also Tiffany and Scott for everything that they provide to us in this space, the work that we're able to do without any sort of apprehension or any sort of pressure on us. And thank, Gerald, for that vision you had as a student where people probably told you you're crazy. But thank you for not giving up on that vision. And thank you to everyone who's ever had a year up intern. I have never met a year up intern that I did not like. I think they're fabulous young people and can be and have the potential to move us along and out of spaces that are difficult right now into more comfortable spaces. So I'm talking a lot. I tend to talk a lot when I'm talking about these things, but just thank you to everyone and thank you to everyone for being here today.
Thank you, Andrea. So Andrea heads up diversity for FAS. And so
FASHR.
FASHR. Sorry, I was gonna do the HR too. I mean, I'd like to claim you for all FAS, but it's FASHR. So thank you. But there's some other folks on the call. I have my colleagues from talent acquisition. And again, I'm going to guilt you into this, but I'm watching the time. I want you to take a look, and you're all going to meet them because we're setting up a breakfast or a gathering for our FAS folks to meet our FAS and also our year up interns from across the university, because we started off by saying this is a pipeline opportunity and we want you to meet them. And I'm really, really tall. And so when I say stuff, you really believe me because I am a big person, okay? So we're gonna be done with that. So now we're gonna transition. And I thank you, Scott, Ellen, Tiffany. And so we are going to change places now, and we're gonna have the managers, current managers and interns who will have a conversation about what's happening in their department. And I'm gonna ask Alyssa to come up and moderate that part of it. And so you'll hear from me in a little while, okay?
So no, it's not all managers and all interns coming up. Right, I know, I'm teasing. I'm sorry. Thank you. So come on up. I think somebody's sitting there. Wherever you're comfortable. Okay. So just so the audience knows, we will introduce, yes, I'm Alyssa, but the important people are at the table here. So as they get settled from my far end, Maggie Lopes is one of the managers, and her intern is Jalea Reeves. Then we have Monica and Tien, and then Cassidy will be speaking a little bit later. And you're free to contribute to this little panel discussion. Cassidy is a recent graduate of our program at Harvard and is currently employed here. So we'll get a little bit more of an introduction later. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into this because we could spend a lot of time and we don't have a lot of time. So wanted to start off by asking the managers. Monica, this is the first time that you are hosting an intern.
Yes.
And Maggie, this is your second time at the table here. So I want to know what drove you to decide to host an intern, and how does having a year of intern fit in with your organizational structure and model?
Can I take it first?
You can duke it out.
Okay. I'll go first. Thank you. I see this as I was, sitting listening to the previous panel that it's like it's a win, 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 win. It's a win for our department, and this is real work that Julie is doing and Almaz before that moves our work along and getting things done in the Department of Economics, as well as our commitment to diversity, equity, belonging. It's a win for Harvard, as already discussed in terms of pipeline. Hopefully it's a win for Jalea and learning skills and experiences through the 6 months. And it's a win for me as a mentor and working with Jalea. I just think it's a great program. Again, this is my second time. And the diversity of thought that's brought to our meetings, whether it's our admin ops team meetings or a staff meeting, it's just, it's very rewarding all around.
For me, thank you, first of all, for having me here. For me, it's a great opportunity to give back. I know from personal experience, my own personal experience, how a professional internship and a mentoring relationship has the potential to change somebody's life. The helping, especially a younger adult to developing their career to grow, and also having this great opportunity as a manager to be challenged to grow also. I see this mentoring relationship as a two-way street. It's not, I don't necessarily see that as like, okay, we have these interns and they're here to learn. As a manager, I'm learning, I'm growing from the different perspective, from the enthusiasm, from being challenged sometimes. He does challenge me sometimes, and I welcome that. Oftentimes, as we advance in our careers, it is easy to perhaps think that we know everything, and getting the fresh perspective of younger adults who come with all this enthusiasm and be part of their development is a great opportunity. My career would not have taken off if I had not done my internship. I worked in dining services in this university. And I had the great opportunity to work as an intern. And from there, 18 years later, I have advanced in my career, and I'm just grateful for the year program and for being able to have this opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Monica. I did not know your story, so that's inspiring. I also didn't know, Daniel, that you're a graduate of the program when we met earlier this morning. So it's wonderful to see what programs like Year Up and the opportunities that Harvard provides for people through different channels, how it really transforms people's lives and opens up their ability to contribute and Harvard's ability to receive. So it's wonderful. I wanted to ask, because we have those different talent pipelines. I know there's a summer youth program. You utilize your own Harvard students and maybe interns from other universities, and we have the Year Up program. How does Year Up fit into your model of using different talent pipelines, and how is it different from these other resources?
For us in the Department of Government, and I've been in the department for 2 years, being able to have an intern who can wear many hats, right? Interns are like a sponge. They absorb so much knowledge. And with Dan in particular, he's helped us in every single area of the work that we do in the department. So he's done work for academic affairs, and recently he did a lot of work to help us prepare for a faculty meeting where decisions about faculty hiring are made. And he's also contributing to areas for curriculum development and events and also in finance. And so the possibilities seem like endless, right? And so just being able to meet different needs of the department with just one person who's learning but contributing also is just really, I think, a great opportunity for an administrator. So that's how, at Gov Department, that's how the year of intern fits in really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo that. Just we participate in all of those that you mentioned in the department, and the Year Up program, because of how it's structured and designed. I mean, Julia is part of our staff and our, and our team, and she works over 35 hours a week sometimes. And so really integrating her into the workflow and training as she's learned, it takes a while to kind of get up and running at Harvard and get systems access and training that's needed. And so this program affords that to contribute in really meaningful ways.
I just want to, if I may, just underscore that, some people may think of an internship or interns as doing filing and printing. And I just want to highlight that the work that our year intern does, and I'm sure same for economics, it's important work that helps with decision making, that helps with the important things that are happening at the department. So we don't think, at least in our team, we don't think as the year up intern as like, oh, that person that we're training. He is part of our team and he's contributing to the mission of the department, and we're grateful for that.
Great, great. So I'm going to ask the interns now to do a little reflecting, because one thing that is different about some of those other programs is the length, the 6 months. And it struck me, I think, Maggie, when you and I were speaking about that, a summer program that's 8 or 9 weeks, right? You folks are in your, I think this is your 10th week now. If you were a summer intern, you'd be gone, right? So you have a 6-month opportunity to learn and grow. And I'd like to ask you to step back a little bit, think about when you first started and where you are now, and comment on your growth to date.
So for me, I would say back in Europe, I'm really grateful for the training that I've been going through. And I'm really grateful for Scrum, of what Scrum have done for me in form of management. And ever since I've been using Scrum, I track my growing process ever since I joined this internship. Every day I'm reflecting on which problem, which I encounters and how I am overcoming it. And I've been tracking and seeing my growth over time. And the sign is that I am really grateful for having a really honesty staff members, very positive, really welcoming, and treat me as them like a family. And seeing them being happy and really positive of my work have been giving me a sign that I'm on the right track. So far, there's challenges for like the first 1 to 2 weeks. I don't know what Harvard is. I have problem with finding my way walking around the campus. The train is horrible. Still, I come every day. I say this is an opportunity for me. There will be challenges. There might be time I meet new people, I have to step out of my comfort zone and talk to them and introduce them about myself. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. And every day coming to the works, I'm really excited to see the familiar faces of the people at the office I work with.
Great.
Hi, my name is Julia. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. I definitely agree with what Tian was saying. I honestly couldn't fathom even like being in this position, like from just my background, from my family history. Like it's crazy to say that like while I'm working at Harvard, even though it's an internship, I'm working at Harvard, like the Harvard. And so like I wear that on my chest. Like I'm very proud of it. I love my manager. I love my team. Just as Tian, I definitely had challenges in the beginning. I'm a very fast-paced moving person. And I've learned that sometimes it's okay to slow down and take your time and wait, because it does take time to get access to the systems. Definitely. I was waiting for a while. But yeah, so I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Even from like initially going into the Europe program, I wouldn't consider myself an extrovert either. I think I'm more introverted, but I can be out there. And so like just seeing how Europe has positioned me to have to step out of my area of comfort and go out and branch out and meet new people and talk and do things. And I'm realizing that as I do this, more opportunities are coming. I couldn't have imagined being asked to do this, you know, like it's just like crazy, all this stuff that's coming. I mean, I'm so grateful for it. But yeah, I love the Europe. I love the experience. I'm grateful for Gerald, who had the vision and executed it perfectly. And so I'm just grateful for all of that.
Thank you. I am taking a look at the clock, so I'm gonna cut our time a little short, unfortunately, because I have so much more I want. Everybody wants to hear from you, right? This is why we're here. So we'll find another opportunity, and maybe hosting managers, we'll have a roundtable with managers and alum to help you feel comfortable as you're setting your course. But that's kind of my closing question, I think, is as we're looking to bring more people into the Europe family from Harvard, what would you like potential managers to know? And this is for anybody, managers and interns and alum. What would you like managers to know about this program and the journey that they may embark on?
So for me personally, I would like any potential managers to know, don't underestimate your interns. You know, just because some of us may not have the same, we might not have that great resume or the degrees and the certificates on paper, we still have the capacity and the ability to learn and to soak in this information and to execute these things. And so I just want you to come in with an open mind. Don't feel afraid to give the work, you know, don't be afraid to be like, oh, well, you may not understand, because we can always learn. That's what we're here to do. We're here to learn. So really just not underestimating us, because Europe prepares us for it. It truly does. Everything that I have learned in L&D, the time, the hours that I have put in, I definitely feel prepared and was prepared for the experience. So don't underestimate us.
Thank you. Any other thoughts?
I want to echo what you said about not underestimating your interns. It is an investment of time, and I recognize that many managers have heavy workloads, but it is important to slow down and really get to know your interns. They bring a lot to the table, not only their backgrounds, and I hope that at some point when somebody talks about their career, they don't have to bring up the background as like, we all deserve to be here in this environment, but get to know your interns, get to identify the strengths that they bring to the table. Sometimes they might not even know the gifts that they have, and as a manager, it's your job to identify those, to help them develop those skills, and to help them build that confidence. And also, yes, be open-minded, learn from them. Learn as much as you can from them. It's a really great opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, panelists, I'm going to turn it over to Cassidy. Cassidy DeSagas, you can take it away for us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cassidy DeSagas, and I am currently an admin assistant at the Center for Nanoscale Systems Department, also known as CNS. And I will tell you a little bit about my experience, my journey through Europe and my internship with Harvard. So before, does this move? Nice. So before Europe, I felt like I was in a place where I was complacent, a little bit too comfortable. And I remember looking at my vision board that I made for the year of 2023. And I was looking at all of these goals. I'm a big dreamer, so I had like a lot of kind of outlandish goals set for the year, but I was like, this is what I want. That's what you put on a vision board, you strive for the best. So even if you don't make it, you get as close to it as you possibly can. So I remember looking at my vision board and I was like, how am I going to get to these goals and complete them before the end of the year? And I was honestly lost because I had pretty much no path to them with where I was. And I remember I was on social media and I saw an ad for Year Up and I decided to apply and I got in, thankfully. And once L&D, which is the first 6 months, the learning and development phase, once it rolled around, I wasn't sure what to expect because it wasn't, traditional school where you learn like math and science. But I thought it can't be that hard, you're learning about professionalism. And I'm like, I think I'm pretty professional already. So, yeah, I entered L&D and it was definitely a lot harder than I thought, especially mentally, because I'm naturally introverted. So I have a bit of anxiety sometimes. And so constantly having to network and meet new people and collaborate with new people and present was like really nerve-wracking for me. Even today, I'm pretty nervous speaking to you all. If you asked me to speak like a year ago, I definitely would have said no. But this time, it rolled around and I was like, 70% yes, so yes. And then I think kind of doing that consistently and over again, being on the other side of, wow, I can't believe I did it because I didn't think I would be able to do it. It really gave me the lesson of being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And so once it was time for internship, I had this really unusual feeling of like peace. I wasn't anxious, which is very weird for me, especially when navigating like new environments, especially alone. It was really, really weird, but I wasn't complaining. I felt prepared and ready and confident in my ability to, get into my new office space and learn everything that I didn't already know. And I'd also say going into my internship, being prepared and being ready for the new experience. My manager definitely was a really, really big, if not the biggest factor of my continuous growth throughout my internship at Harvard. Kind of piggybacking off of what Monica said with like, you want to make sure to get to know your intern. It'll allow for the both of you to have a foundation of trust. And that's really, really important because it will not only allow for your intern to receive feedback well from you, but also it'll allow them to take it and use it to kind of drive them to do better at work, to improve their overall performance. And also, as an intern, there's going to be some hiccups, some mistakes. And as quickly as they make it, you want them to tell you so that way you guys can find a way to fix it quickly. But yeah, overall, the past year, I feel like I've grown a lot, just so much thanks to Year Up, thanks to my manager, my internship at Harvard. Of course, yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy ride. I ended up getting converted, which I really didn't expect to because I heard it's a little bit hard sometimes. But I'm super duper grateful. And yeah, thank you all for being here and listening to my story today.
Thank you all. Really could listen to you all forever, but I'm turning it over to Attain, so we try to stay on schedule.
Okay, so we heard from 2 interns, right? Jalia and Tin. I want each person quickly stand up and say your name and what department you're in, because all of those other interns in the audience could be or could have been up there speaking. Come on, hurry up, stand up.
Time.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm part of the CSS team. I'm an intern there. My manager, Joseph, is here, right here.
Yes.
I just want to say he's been a great manager. He's always teaching us, learning something new every day, and I love being here.
Thank you. Come on.
We're gonna hold our applause in the interest of time, okay?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Burial. I'm over at the Harvard Business School in the Executive Education Department, and my manager is Anthony Corsino. He's unfortunately not here today, probably busy in calls and everything, running around, but he's amazing. He made sure to be very welcoming from day one, and I really do appreciate that because it's my first time here, so.
Ricardo, thank you. Next. No.
My name is Josh Franz-Nellis. I'm with the HBS Executive Education Department, same building, or same building. Same department.
Yeah.
My manager is Shannon Boyda, and I swear she's an army of 10 men. She gets so much work done, and she's honestly a huge inspiration for me moving forward in my professional career. I envy what she can do every day, and I'm just hoping that by the end of my internship that I'm able to emulate that.
Thank you so much. Next.
My name is Ellis Tran, and I'm in the instructional design department at Travis, and I never thought I'd be at Harvard. Just hearing the stories, watching the movies, I was always amazed, and now I'm a part of the team and seeing all cool people, so thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh, Luis is my manager.
Yeah. Next person.
My name is Ricardo. I'm at the exec ed for Harvard Kennedy School. My office is on the 6th floor. This is my building right here, so I get to come here every day. And it's definitely honored to be here. Europe has definitely helped us network, and being an assistant as well as networking with the participants with our program, I'm able to build a relationship and hear other people's story as well too, and also tell my story to hopefully one day those connections could keep on building. So I'm just grateful and thankful to be here, see these nice smiles, and just keep working hard and keeping the vision towards the goal.
Thank you. Next person. Yes.
My name is Jason. I'm part of TSS with Yosef. Honestly, I'm just surprised I'm here, to be honest. I didn't think I was ever gonna even be here, like this Europe in general, so I was kind of surprised.
Thank you. And next one.
Hi, my name is Ellen. I am with Hewitt Client Services, Planning and Strategy. My manager is Jen Vasconcelos, and she's been really amazing. I feel that I have all the support and the tools needed for me to succeed, and I agree with what Josh says. I look at Jen, and she has a great process that I really definitely want to emulate in my career moving forward. And I'm really happy to be at Harvard. I feel not because of what we all think that Harvard means, but also because I definitely see that there's so much room for opportunity. And here, people are so flexible to each individual, to how people want to communicate and work. So I'm really glad with that. And just a fun fact, on my first interview, when I with Year Up, that I talked about where I would like to intern, Harvard was my first option. So I'm
Okay, next person. Come on. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dorcas, and I'm intern at HBS with a student academic service. And my manager is Gregory Fortier. He's been wonderful. He taught me to slow down, and we came down everything in one day, which I was struggling a lot more. And I'm so grateful to be a part of the team. They're amazing people. I could never have asked for a better team. And thank you for Europe.
Next person, don't be shy, come on, yes?
I'll keep it short, but hi everyone, I'm Diana Torres. I'm interning at the Department of Statistics in the FAS school. My manager is Emily Palmer. I believe she's joining us through Zoom, but yeah.
Yes, thank you. We still have some more interns. I know we do.
Good morning, my name is Cora, and it still doesn't feel real that I'm here, to be honest. Me, back in Dominican Republic, would never, ever realize that I would be here. I work at Harvard Griffin GSAS. My manager is Janet Daniels, and I love that woman. It made me realize that even though you are in a new environment, you will still find people to support you. And that's exactly what I needed. I'm here to meet more people and open more doors. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I think I see far more you are. I remember you. All right.
Hello everyone, my name is Andres Ocampo. I'm an intern at the social media marketing team for the extension school, summer school, and professional development. So far, kind of going off coming from Colombia, I will now imagine being here at Harvard. So it's been a great experience, just being able to put my art and I'm a photographer, so being able to take the pictures that I want here at Harvard and then being posted, that'll be one of the greatest feelings that I could ever get, so yeah.
Who else is here? I don't know.
Call some people, Marian.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Miriam Kimu. I'm with the Hewitt Service Desk team. My manager is Kristen Johnson. I've been working remotely all 5 days, so this is my first in-person day at Harvard. And I would like to thank Kristen for giving me this time to be here today and for being so understanding and helpful. Working remotely has been hard, but she's been giving me all the resources I needed to succeed at my internship. And I would like to thank Europe for this opportunity as well.
Kathleen earlier. Kathleen, where did you go?
She had to leave.
Oh, okay. So for the people who are on Zoom, this is just a small sampling of what your future staff could look like. Everybody is saying how amazing the opportunity at Harvard has been. Their managers have supported them. Their managers have provided opportunities for them. Their managers have trained them, and their managers have instilled confidence and trust. I mean, I work in HR, and these are the things that we work with managers. We say to managers, you need to skill up your staff. You need to provide opportunity. One person talked about feedback, and we also talk about feedback when we're working with our managers. So here we are. We have an amazing example of what it could look like if they are become a part of our staff and a part of our workforce. I want to thank you all for coming, but before I thank you, I just want to let you know that the next year of internship cycle starts in July. And folks who are on the Zoom or may know somebody who would like a year up intern, I would love. I would personally come and make you a cup of tea and sit with you and talk with you about it so that you can have the opportunity and the experience that we just shared a few minutes ago by meeting these amazing young people. I'm saying that and I truly believe it. I really believe it. And if you were here, you'd see the energy in the room. All right? So with that, Alyssa, do you have anything else to add?
Well, be mindful of the time. We have, so contact me or Attain if you'd
Right.
like any more information. We'll be reaching out. I'll be reaching out to all the HR departments, and
Right.
Attain already has all the information. We're looking to spend the month of April exploring, meeting with managers to see where there might be possibilities for placing interns. And I'm happy to walk anybody through the process, explain the program more, blah, blah, blah. This slide here, nice colorful slide. So learning and development, you heard our folks talk about it, the internship, that's your role, right? In the middle of this, in helping our young adults on their next step in their journey. So thank you all for being here, your attention, our participants, Attain.
Okay,
Megan.
one last thing. I want to say thanks to Megan. I want to say thanks to Gorgana, that amazing outfit that she has on. And Gorgana is from Bulgaria, right? So I keep thinking of the diversity in this room, and I'm so excited that we all made it this morning and that the rain came down, but it didn't stop us from coming here.
Did not
All right?
dampen the
It
spirit.
did not dampen the spirit, so thank you all, and you'll be hearing from me, unfortunately. Okay? I promise.
Thank you.
Bye. I wanted to recognize